You're listening to the Seabrook Business Waves. This is a monthly podcast focusing on economic development initiatives around the city of Seabrook, Texas. Seabrook is located southeast of the city of Houston on Galveston Bay and has a daytime market reach of over 50,000 people. Our waterfront community has a wide range of sites available for commercial development and is eager to welcome your new business to our home. I'm your host, Paul Chavez, Economic Development Director for the City of Seabrook, and with me is...
Patricia Patel, Seabrook Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Seabrook. We are so excited to kick off the 2023 season with this jam-packed episode featuring our first book club review, highlights of available real estate.
How about a follow-up to our grocery store site selection discussion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Definitely. And announcing the upcoming SBDC workshops at our library. Where do we begin?
You know what? Wait a minute. Let me grab a snack. I am really hangry right now.
Wow. Speaking of hangry, Paul, that's the first book we've started our book club with.
Ooh, okay.
Hangry. Mm-hmm. It's written by author Mike Evans, and this is the book about the startup journey of GrubHub.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell me your thoughts on the book. I kind of read through it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, no, I didn't kind of read through it. I read through it as well.
Yeah.
And I found some of it, it was difficult to read, Pat. Some of it was, but there were nuggets of information that I think our entrepreneurs and local businesses could glean from it.
Definitely.
But what's your take on this book?
Well, for me, I think it's a great book for first-time entrepreneurs who have a dream to start their own business, especially relevant for small mom and pop business owners here in Seabrook. We get a lot of first-time business owners here, and it's hard starting a business in a small community like ours, not knowing the end result, the outcome, how to get the proper financing, how to grow and expand that business, how to keep mentally sane, and just staying positive and trying new ways and new ideas to support your business.
You're talking, but I'm really getting hungry.
Wow.
Only there was a way to order food right now.
I love Mike's journey from the beginning where he tells us what inspired him to start GrubHub.
That's an important lesson for everybody.
It's a fun, witty book to read about how Mike's on a bus one day and he slams into someone's armpit accidentally and comes home tired and doesn't want to cook. He hates flipping through the yellow pages, and that's where he tells the readers that here's the cranky part that eventually turns into a $1 billion business.
Ooh,
so that's where it all starts. That's where it all begins, his journey.
You know what? His writing style, it's a bit over the top for me. It's got a little bit too much of that bravado, too much of that look at me thing going on. But there were parts of it where I'm like, that's interesting. About maybe about a quarter away through the book when he starts going through the process of expanding GrubHub from the Chicago location where he started off at, and he was expanding into San Francisco. And he realized the San Francisco effort was not taking off like the Chicago effort. And he was like, what's wrong? So he kept trying to hammer this thing in all these different ways, and it wasn't working. And then he had the answer. And what he says is, having no idea is my answer. Creating a startup means living in an uncomfortable tension. It requires having the arrogance to assume that a thing that I invented with no prior experience in the industry is going to revolutionize that industry. I have the gall to go ahead and try it, throwing ideas on the wall to see what sticks. But it also requires humility. It requires listening to the customers. In my case, listening to restaurateurs and diners and recognizing that I have blind spots. Big ones. And that's an important revelation for a lot of entrepreneurs who think they can go through and solve every problem all on their own. To take that step back and realize, maybe I don't have all the answers and I need to reach out to somebody either on my team or somebody outside of my team to find that help to move to that next level.
Yeah.
Something else he mentions, and also speaking about what you were talking about earlier, it was when he was reflecting back on when he was starting off and he was at Borders. Remember Borders?
I do remember Borders.
Yeah. So speaking of Borders, I could really go for Taco Bell right now.
Wow. Are you hangry?
I am getting hangrier and hangrier. So remember back, so he says here in his book, this is about halfway through the book when he says, remembering back in Borders when I was reading Selling for Dummies, there are 3 steps for sales. 1, understanding your client's needs. 2, explain how you can meet those needs. And 3, ask for the money. So at this part of the book, he has shown that GrubHub is successful. And he's moving on to, hopefully, in his book, he's hoping to launch his not an IPA.
His beer. GrubHub goes beer.
I'm going to do some beer now. His IPO, not IPA. And he was meeting with various financiers about how to better package GrubHub for the IPO. And some of these financial groups just did not take the time to get to know GrubHub. And I think that's what he was reflecting on here is these people who were trying to win his business didn't really know his business. And he was getting frustrated by that. And he kind of reflected on that with himself.
Yeah, that is true.
And with GrubHub. So that was fascinating to read about his revelation. Again, he has several moments of those, oh yeah, I don't have all the answers. But in between that, it's a slog, Pat. It's kind of hard to get through some of this. Like, okay, we know that you think you're great,
right?
But can you dial it back a little bit? I guess that's what fills the pages of the book. It's him talking about how awesome he is. And to his credit, he did launch a massively influential app and company.
Correct.
But something else that I think is really important for entrepreneurs and small business owners in the book, and this is about a little bit more than halfway through, he talks about going on a cross-country journey on a bicycle. You know how I like to bicycle.
Right.
I do it as often as possible. I bicycle around the office, in the elevator, down the stairs.
I don't think that's possible, Paul.
Yeah, I've done it. It's not a pretty sight. But while he's talking about the journey on his bicycle, and he's really pushing forward, just like an entrepreneur normally does. That entrepreneur mindset of I'm going to go, 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 go. And when he's on the bicycle, he does the same thing. Go, 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 day after day. I'm going to just grind through every day to get miles.
Right.
And he reaches a point pretty early in his journey where he's been grinding through these miles and realizing, like, I'm really getting worn out. My bicycle is getting worn out. And he stops at a bike shop. And the shop owner says, hey, you haven't had a rest day. Clearly, from all the hard-earned experience, the owner also says a low-mileage day doesn't count. Calling it quits early because you're exhausted doesn't count. You need a pre-planned 0 day. Absolutely no miles. I know what I'm talking about. I was 10 days in when I had my collapse, and it almost ended my ride. Most trans-American riders who come through here are chasing miles. Wrong way to do it. You need to take it easy, especially in the beginning. Every 5th day should be a 0 day until you get to your next goal.
Right.
And that's really important for businesses. When you're starting up, you're go, go, go every day, every night.
Right.
But you need to have a pre-planned day of 0 miles or 0, just I'm going to take some time.
Take some time off.
I'm going to order GrubHub.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm just going to chill.
Right.
And just enjoy my success so far.
Yeah. I like that.
And also, going all the way back to what you said earlier, in the epilogue of the book, he mentions that he was done with GrubHub, the IPO is successful, he's moved on, he's ready to do something new, something different, and then he realizes, I'm trying to do something new and different, and to tackle that, he says, I started with a problem. And that's the nugget, that's the kernel that will grow an entrepreneur's business forward, is finding out what's missing, what do I need, and then moving on from there. I liked those little bits and pieces in the book.
Yeah.
Overall, if I had to give this book a rating, Pat, I'd give it 8 out of 10 pizzas.
Wow.
How about you?
I would definitely give it at least 9 out of 10 pizzas.
9 out of 10 pizzas?
I enjoyed it. It was inspiring. I mean, especially his last statement.
Yeah.
It's the advice that he gives to any entrepreneur. It's to just not overthink it.
Right.
Just to start. Make the thing, sell a customer, and just start. So for any new business owner.
What do you like on your pizzas, Pat?
I like jalapeno and pineapple. That's my favorite.
So do I.
Wow.
How about sun-dried tomatoes?
Not so much.
Chocolate chips?
No, not on a pizza.
What?
Yeah, jalapeno and pineapple.
Pizzas have a lot of real estate on them. you can put a lot of stuff on them. But
That's true.
Speaking of real estate.
Wow, we have some real estate that's available here in Seabrook.
All right. Well, you know what? I want you to tell me about this real estate, Pat.
I will, Paul.
Go ahead.
All right. Our first one is 1417 Lidstone Street. It is for lease. And that's a prime location off of State Highway 146 and NASA Parkway intersection. The entire property is about 20,000 square feet.
So where is that site?
It's right behind Marburgers.
Right. Oh, yeah, where Marburgers used to be.
Right.
Right. You know what?
What?
You know what? I've got food on my mind. The first time I went to Marburgers, I thought it was a hamburger shop.
Wow.
I just saw the name like Marburgers. Yum.
Yeah, I saw
walked
burgers.
in, and I'm like, hey, there's no food in here. Okay. They had sporting goods and all those kind of things, but so this site is behind where Marburgers used to be.
Correct.
They have that frontage, so you can see 146, and it's very clear.
Yeah, prime location.
It is a great location.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
We have 2202 NASA Parkway, and that's for sale. It's a piece of land that's right next to the Spring Hill Suites Marriott, and it's about 1.89 acres.
Well, that's a really prime piece. That's between Bolt House and Mario's Pizza.
Yes.
That big open lot
Yes.
there. Oh yeah, that's a great spot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's deep, but it's a wonderful spot for retail.
Right. Retail restaurant. Next, we have 2400 Bayport Boulevard. That's for sale. It's another prime piece of commercial land that's 0.41 acres. It used to be the previous Sonic location.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This piece of land, it sits right next to Kiwo, which is, again, our selected business of the year for 2022.
Right. Yeah. Kiwa's a great company. We're so lucky to have them in our
Yes, we
community.
are.
Yeah, and this site right next to it, that's all 146 frontage. Oh yeah. Oh man, that site's going to go real fast.
Yep. So those are our 3 real estate properties that we have available.
Well, hot off the heels of the first grocery store site selection interview that we had, Pat and I took some time to visit with the team at CDS Market Research to find out more on what grocery stores are seeking from the perfect market area for expansion.
First, Paul, let's tell everyone, who is CDS?
Right. I know what it is, but how about you tell us?
CDS stands for Community Development Strategies, and like retail strategies, who we interviewed in our 3rd podcast, CDS specializes in the site selection process for a wide range of clients, like industrial, office, retail, and more.
Should we also mention that CDS has been around for over 45 years and has been an industry leader in market research for both communities seeking new business development as well as for companies looking to narrow down the options for site selection?
Maybe.
Okay. So we met with the members of CDS team last week to discuss new site selection criteria for grocery stores in the Clear Lake and Seabrook market.
They had so much to share with us on how we can address the issue of grocery stores, within our area. Let's play some of the dialogue we recorded with their team.
Yeah, right. So for this interview, we met with Steve Spillette, who's the president, Brenda Crenshaw, who's the vice president, Ty Jacobsen, who is the senior market and GIS analyst. And Steve starts by giving an overview of the data set that grocery stores need for the initial site review.
For something like grocery stores, which are heavily dependent, not exclusively, but pretty heavily dependent on the residential population, we want to see what is the size of that population and how many households are there that contain it. And is that population and household count growing? And is there more expected in the future? And then some things about the characteristics of the households, like income and level that indicates spending power. Most grocery stores, traditional big chains, want to see at least a middle-class population. Not all of them. Some serve more specialized, working class people with more limited income. And then are they family households? Because families tend to consume a lot of groceries.
Later in the interview, Ty then shares details about Kroger's future growth.
It hasn't been a Kroger built in, I think, 4 years in the Houston area. I don't know what that means going forward necessarily for them, but the general growth of those stores has slowed down, and they also have been looking at Kroger hasn't built like a conventional Kroger in quite some time. They've been building those large marketplace Krogers, which is I'm under the impression they're actually dialing that brand back to calling everything just a Kroger, though the larger stores will remain. Kroger, H-E-B, Walmart are your three most active players in sort of conventional grocery in the Houston market. Those first three, they're building large stores on major freeways, and that's all they're doing right now. I don't know if that will change for something like Kroger. They're undergoing a potential merger with Albertsons / Safeway. Yes. We'll see if that clears regulatory hurdles or not, and what that means for Randall's, which is owned by Albertsons and Safeway. I don't think it's going to mean anything necessarily positive for Randall's, but we'll see. But that will be interesting because Kroger has not been a big proponent of urban stores lately, and Albertsons, especially with the Safeway brand in other parts of the country, has been a big proponent of urban stores, and whether or not that will change the philosophy one way or the other.
And just keep in mind that when the stores get bigger and bigger, I mean, when I was growing up, a 40,000 square foot grocery store was quite normal. Now they're 90,000 square feet for a standard one, and some of these other ones that Todd just mentioned are well over 100,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And finally, Brenda and the team commented on the Seabrook and Clear Lake grocery market saturation situation.
I mean, just looking at the map, there were quite a few grocery stores already around there. And I mean, you had Kroger, you had H-E-B, you had some of the major ones there already. And there were several of them. So it didn't look like you were lacking.
We're not a food desert.
It is tough, when you already have an array of grocery stores to really get some of these chains interested. They really have to see evidence that there's a mismatch between the population and the households and their likely grocery cultural affinity, if you want to call it that, versus what's there.
It could take a long time to turn that sentiment around, but that's what we're doing every day here at the Seabrook Economic Development Corporation, working to attract new businesses and business growth to our community. And speaking of, we are working with and helping to promote the SBDC and the SBA on a series of workshops geared towards encouraging the growth of entrepreneurs in our community. Pat, do you want to talk about the upcoming first workshop that they're going to be hosting?
Yeah. The SBDC is going to be hosting a series of workshops here at the Evelyn Meador Library in Seabrook.
Nice. I love our library.
It's really nice.
This is going to be an awesome set of workshops then.
It will be. It's starting in January 19th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
They're going to host the qualifications for the Employee Retention Tax Credit. The presenter, Clyde McKay from Ray Tax Group, will be presenting, does your business qualify for the Employee Retention Tax Credit? And it's surprising after working through the calculations how many businesses are eligible and the amount of the credit they can receive.
Nice. Okay, so what are some of the high-level topics they'll be covering?
They'll be going over eligibility requirements for the ERC for both 2020 and 2021, and an overview of the mechanics of the PPP loan forgiveness.
That's still a thing?
You should go to the workshops and find out.
Well, all right. Yeah. Tell me more. When is it again?
It's going to be Thursday, January 19th at 6 p.m. here at the Evelyn Meador Branch Library.
Nice. Okay.
And if you want more information, definitely check out sbdc.uh.edu.
I'll definitely do that. In the meantime, head over to seabrooktx.gov/Seabrook Business Waves to find all of our past episodes. You can jump from there to your favorite podcasting platform so you can listen where you like to listen. Also, please help our podcast by subscribing, hitting that like button, and leaving us a review. It's very much appreciated. And when you do leave a review, one of you lucky listeners out there will receive an autographed copy of the Hangry book that Pat and I have read. And it'll be autographed by Pat and Paul.
Wow.
Yeah, you get a copy of the book that we read, autographed by us. So you get to see all of our notes written in the book.
It's inspiring.
It is. Your notes are very inspiring. So is this book. Drop us a line at edc@seabrooktx.gov and let us know your thoughts on what we've covered so far and what you'd like to hear in upcoming episodes. Until then, I'm Paul Chavez, Economic Development Director for the City of Seabrook.
And I'm Patricia Patel, Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Seabrook.
Thank you for listening. See you next month when we'll be covering more incredible and interesting topics about business development, especially within the City of Seabrook.